There's one thing that kills 65% of startups and 86% of founders do not prepare for it, and it's not a lack of this. How could it be that there's one thing that founders are neglecting that's killing companies? Before we even get into what it is, we need to take a step back and understand founders a little bit better. We interviewed over 100 founders in the last few months who had raised almost $500 million for their startups to figure out what's going on in their lives to look at why's killing startups. What were we asking founders about? Well, we were asking founders about the 8 areas of wellness. There's a whole video on it. Maybe I'll link it. The 8 areas of wellness are spiritual, environmental, physical, emotional, mental, social, financial, and occupational. Financial and occupational are related. Emotional is not the same as social. These are interconnected wellness categories, and these are the ones that psychologists use to understand how is the general wellness of a population. We use these as a measuring device. We had the founders rate their wellness categories on a scale from 1, extremely unhappy, to 5, I'm through the roof satisfied. This is the Likert scale. It's a pretty normal way of getting data from people. And we thought, going into this, we were gonna find one area of wellness where all founders were lacking. We found something even more interesting than that. We found that founders agreed that their occupational health was great. It was a 4 out of 5 in occupational wellness. You hear about founders struggling all the time. You hear about founders staying up all night. Founders believe that they're crushing it in their companies and they feel really good about doing it. But when we dug deeper, things got more complicated. They would attribute all of their other wellness qualms, which were varied, to their jobs, to their startups. This is the real plight of being a founder. You're really happy doing the thing that you love, but it's causing your health to decline. And because of that, we get to the leading cause of startup death, founder conflict. 65% of startups die because of founder conflict, and 86% of founders do not prepare for founder conflict. So we have this problem. Founder conflict is killing companies, and most founders are not preparing for it. How could that even be possible? We asked startup founders what they think was going to kill their company, and we got 3 common answers. Number 1, skill gap. They thought that they needed to learn something in order to keep their company alive. Number 2, technical issues, meaning we got to scale up the servers, or we need to implement innovation in order for our company to succeed. Number 3, money. People think that fundraising is the number 3 cause of startup death. This is not what the data suggest. The data suggests that founders disagreeing with each other in their values will cause the startup to die. When we polled people, are you preparing for interpersonal conflict? Most people said no. The reason for this is that most people express values and then act out different values. In other words, we don't act in line with what we actually believe. Value one thing and we act out another thing. We have misalignment between our behavior and our values, and it's causing a lot of problems, not just in startups, but it's killing startups. What should we do? If we want to be successful startup founders, one thing that we could do is learn what our values are first, get together with our founders to compare, are our values as founders aligned? And if they're not, we need to solve that problem or not start this company because it will die because of that. There's a layer deeper and there's a solution. The layer deeper, people have a tendency to act from their weaknesses because they feel the deficit. You don't feel your strengths. Everyone else sees your strength. When you operate from your weaknesses, you're always gonna be behind because you're never really moving ahead. You're only catching up. If you operate from your strengths, first, you're able to get ahead and then retroactively compensate for your weaknesses. So what is the solution to all of this? The solution to all of this is 2 things. 1, are you values aligned with your co-founder? You need to write down what you value before you even talk to them, and then you guys need to get together and compare notes. Are we values aligned? Ask why 5 times on each value. Maybe only do 1 or 2 values. Are we values aligned? Number 2, take care of yourself. Everybody knows that. How do you take care of yourself? I would recommend prioritizing 4 areas of wellness, okay? Mental, emotional, physical, and social. And really, the social is probably the most important, meaning that if you're investing in the relationship with your co-founder, it's less likely to break down. Even if your personal life is falling apart in shambles, but you have a really strong relationship, your startup will survive. Now, I don't recommend living your life in shambles because that will put pressure on your social relationship with your co-founder. In fact, if you take better care of yourself, you get enough sleep, you work relatively normal hours, maybe longer, but not 20-hour days, you work like 10-hour days, and you eat healthy, get some exercise, that will stack the chips in favor of you being able to build a healthy relationship with your co-founder and avoid the #1 cause of startup death. And sorry to tell you, it's not fundraising, it's not resources, it's not hiring, it's your co-founder. That's it. Now, if you found this even a little bit interesting, sign up for our newsletter below, Time Alchemy. We help you make time for what matters most. Just in this video, this is unannounced, we're offering something new. We're offering an 8-module program with one-on-one and group coaching to get you from struggling with aligning your values and not knowing who you are to executing while being completely value aligned. I think this is very important, but sometimes I have to convince people of this. Operating and living in a meaningful way. If you're a startup founder, you probably value this too. And if you feel like you're not really sure where the meaning in your life is coming from, or it's only coming from your startup, you probably need help with this particular problem in your life. That's what we help people do. If you want to hear more about it, or you want to start a strategy call, email me at peter@timealchemy.org. I will get back to you directly, and we can schedule a call to talk through your problems in your startup, your problems in your company, your problems in your job, your problems in your social life, whatever area of wellness you want to work on. What we do best, we help people live meaningful lives, and it's really rad, and I'm really excited to do it. It's very gratifying work. Good luck.